Welcome to There Is a Method to the Madness. My name is Rob Maxwell, and I'm an exercise physiologist and personal trainer. I'm the owner of Maxwell's Fitness Programs, and I've been in business since 1994. All right, so I want to thank our sponsors first today, Jonathan and Lyn Gildon of the Gildon Group at Realty Pros. They currently have over 275-star reviews on Zillow. And Jonathan and Lyn are consummate professionals. Jonathan has his degree in real estate from Florida State University, and Lyn has a MBA. To me, I like when people are very qualified to do what they do. All right. Secondly, I want to thank chiropractic physician Dr. Doris Antos of Ormond Beach, a graduate of Palmer College, one of the best chiropractic schools in the entire country. Happens to be located here in Port Orange. She is on Granada Boulevard, and we refer to her, and I will put her and the Gildon's information in today's show notes. All right, so if you've been around the gym long enough, if you've been around me long enough, and if you haven't, maybe you're hearing it for the first time, but often I'll say, if it's burning, it's working. What does that really mean? We use that a lot around the gym to help the clients understand what they should be feeling for when they work out, when they strength train. So we'll say, if it's burning, it's working. Now, not everybody likes the burn I'm referring to, but the burn is your friend. And I have said that before. All right. So first, let me just make sure that you understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you're doing a set of exercises. Maybe it is leg extension, bicep curl. Let me think what else that we really feel the burn in. I mean, we should feel the burn on everything, but what are the most common places people talk about it? Tricep extensions, leg curl, and really even squats. When we feel the burn, and also on the bicycle, when we're climbing a hill, when we're really pushing hard on a bicycle, we're going to feel the burn in our quads. So that's the burn I'm referring to. All right. So what is that burn? The burn you feel is lactic acid, otherwise known as lactate. All right. It is the residual effect or the waste product of anaerobic metabolism or anaerobic exercise. So when we get anaerobic long enough and hard enough, our body starts producing lactate. Now, lactate in general is there to slow you down. It is your body's defense mechanism. So we know when lactate is being produced that we are doing what we are supposed to do. If it is burning, it's working, okay? So that's what lactate is. There are 3 energy systems in the body that resynthesize ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's the fuel small enough that your muscles can actually use for fuel. It's the only fuel your muscles can directly use for fuel. That's ATP again. And there are 3 energy systems that resynthesize it, okay? I say resynthesize because it's not actually creating it, because ATP is energy. And guess what? Energy can never be created nor destroyed. It's just there. That is the first law of thermodynamics, which is pretty cool when you really sit down and think about it. But we do need to resynthesize it. We need to run it back through the mill. So when we use it up, what happens is different properties are broken down to redistribute, to resynthesize, to make it again. So that is what the 3 energy systems do. I'm not going to bore you with the details of all 3. I've talked about them before, but I will just name them again. There's the immediate energy system. There's the anaerobic energy system, and that's the one I'm talking about. And there's the aerobic energy system. So when we properly strength train, we're supposed to be working primarily our fast twitch muscle fibers, although we do work some of our slow twitch muscle fibers. Anaerobic exercise works the fast twitch muscles. When we are going to fatigue, we are going to feel the burn of lactate because we are getting close to exhaustion. So there's all these different acute program variables out there regarding strength training. We use them. There's nothing wrong with them. They're sets, there's reps, there's tempo, there's load, there's exercise order, there's exercise selection, there's rest between sets, there's rest between days, there's frequency, there's intensity, there's time. All these acute program variables are great, but they're all there to help us get to where we need to be. In regards to strength training, if we understand that if it's burning, it's working, we have simplified this process so much, right? So I'm in the works of writing a new book, and it's on strength training. And every time I write a particular area about acute program variables like sets, reps, load, I continue to have to bring it back and help people understand that those are just tools or aids to help us get where we need to be, which is closer to muscular failure. Now, bodybuilders through the years have gotten a bad rap at a lot of things. And, some of it's justified, just like every category of people, right? I mean, everybody's going to have their stereotypes. So there's, obviously it's all generalizations. But, the one area I got to give them great props to over some of the other strength athletes is they get that. They're more in tune with their body than a lot of other athletes are. I would say that high-level bodybuilders and people that practice yoga have a lot in common as far as understanding how to listen to their body and utilize those tools. They are a lot better at understanding that they're basically chasing the pump or chasing the feel. In other words, they're not going to be as preoccupied with how many or how heavy. They are going to focus more on the actual feel of the exercise. So that's good. And that's kind of innate, I think. I think a lot of times when we get good at something, those are the top properties that we have. We get pretty good at listening to our body and understanding what works. But we all need to get this. We need to get it a little bit better. It'll simplify what we're doing at the gym. All right. So if it's burning, it's working. All right. So what does that really mean? It means that learn how to feel out the loads a little bit better and seek the burn. I will tell you how I did that exactly today. So earlier this morning, I did some intervals on my bike trainer. So what a bike trainer is, for those that don't know, is you're putting your actual real bicycle up on a trainer that adds a little bit of resistance, and you're pedaling on this trainer. And the little flywheel thing in the back gives you some resistance. I wasn't worried about how long I was going to hold an interval per se. And I had really no idea. I don't have a watt meter or anything like that on my bike. So I had no idea what exact metrics I was at. But I told myself, crank it up until I start feeling a burn in my quads, and then hold this as long as I can, and then recover, and then repeat. So that is using the science to my advantage. Now, what if somebody did the opposite? What if they did the opposite? What if they weren't paying attention to how they felt, and their trainer told them to do 5 sets of anaerobic intervals on a bicycle, which, by the way, is the same thing as strength training. When you're doing anaerobic intervals on a bike, you're basically doing the same thing. It's like doing strength training on your bike. So anyway, what if they said 5 sets of 1 minute hard, 1 minute easy, but they didn't tell them what to look for. So now this person might think they did what they were supposed to do because they went to a certain wattage output, maybe, or a simple met output, maybe, or maybe they went by a mile per hour. But what if that didn't do it? Like, what if there was very little anaerobic production that occurred, very little lactate that was flowing in the blood because they simply could have went harder, but they didn't know to go harder. So they didn't really get that great interval they worked for. But when you're thinking about the burn, it's guaranteed. When there's burn and lactic acid is the byproduct of anaerobic metabolism and you felt it, then you know you went hard enough to get the adaptation. And in strength training, we need to overload. And overload simply means go beyond where we've been before or get uncomfortable. So what's more direct than feeling the burn? We as trainers try to help you accomplish that all the time. And we also understand that not everybody is as good as listening to their body as other people. Some people are really good. They'll say, oh, yep, I'm feeling that burn here. Or they don't tell you, you can just tell. And others look at you like you have three heads when you ask them if they feel a burn because they just were not paying attention. They just were not very in tune with their body and they're very numbers oriented. I think both are important. I think quantitative numbers help us get to where we need to be, and they give us trainers some feedback on what is close to the numbers you need to get where you need to be. But qualitative is probably more important. Both work great, and there's no reason not to use both. But if I had to pick, and when I train myself, which of course I do all the time, I focus on that. I mean, sure, I have a roundabout idea of what load I need from years of experience, but then once I pick the load and I'm into a set, I'm really shooting to get to anaerobic metabolism. I'm slowing down a little more, I'm paying attention to the burn, and we don't have to hold it that long. I mean, really, our body doesn't allow us to. It's like compounded interest. The more there is, the shorter the time period is. I mean, it keeps collecting and collecting until you can't do anymore. So you get to what we call delayed or to muscular failure right away. So we don't have to worry about it being too long. There's only so long you can be anaerobic. The lactic acid takes care of that. But we definitely want to try to feel it where we're supposed to feel it. All right. One final caveat to this. We have to understand sensations in our body. Now, very, 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 very early on with a client, we teach them, what's good and what's bad. We always teach them, look, the burn is good. I mean, a lot of people don't want to feel any form of discomfort when they exercise. And I hate to break it to you, if that's you, you're not going to get hardly any benefits. It's going to be uncomfortable. The burn is the kind of uncomfortable feeling that we should seek and look for and not be worried about. Pain in a joint is not good. That's what we don't want. There's a big difference. Lactic acid burn is in the belly of the muscles. It comes on kind of slow and gets worse as the set goes on. That's what we're seeking, okay? Pain in a joint kind of comes on quickly and it stays there. And it's in the joint, not in the belly of the muscle. Those are two different things. And you really shouldn't feel pain in the joint during strength training. Strength training really doesn't aggravate injuries unless we're really doing it wrong. Like we have a pre-existing condition and we're doing something wrong. So you shouldn't worry about hurting yourself during strength training if you don't have any injuries. You really have to train wrong for you to do that. And we don't allow you to do that. And I don't know any good trainers that allow people to do that. But the burn we want. Now, I used to have shirts that on the back, it said, if it's burning, it's working. All right. That's what I want you to think about today when you're doing your strength training, or tomorrow when you do your strength training. Try to feel the burn. If you're working bicep curls, put your mind to your muscle and tell yourself, am I feeling, or ask yourself, am I feeling any burn across this muscle belly? If you're doing leg extensions, focus on the burn in your quads. If you're doing calves, focus on the burn in your calves. Because the cool thing is, if you're feeling it, they're going to adapt. And that's what we want, our adaptations. That's what we want. Adaptations mean they're going to come back stronger and more muscular the next time. All right. All right. So until next time, be max fit and be max well.